Welcome to the MedRite video documentation. This tutorial will cover how to set up and use prerequisites from the MedPass machine. Prerequisites are actions that must be completed before an order is administered. For example, if the resident is taking insulin, the caregiver should be required to take and document the resident's blood sugar before giving the insulin. Chronic, PRN, and treatment orders can be given prerequisites. To add prerequisites to an order, select the resident in question from the resident selection panel and select medication profile from the actions panel. Find the order to add the prerequisites to. Here we see in the directions for this order that it should be held if the systolic blood pressure is less than 100 or the heart rate is lower than 60. Now select the prerequisites link. This opens the prerequisites modal that contains a table of all prerequisites that have been set up for this order already. Here we can see that the pulse prerequisite has already been set up, so let's add the blood pressure. Select the new prerequisite button. From the type pull-down, select blood pressure. A prerequisite can be created with no condition, in which case the MedPasser must simply perform the prerequisite before the order is given. However, the directions for this order clearly state that if the systolic blood pressure is less than 100, the order should be held. This can be indicated with a condition pull-down. Select less than. Now in the expanded modal, notice that there are radio buttons to choose between both systolic or diastolic blood pressure. Select systolic, then using the input box or slider, indicate the value, in this case 100. The text entered into the details input box will be displayed to the MedPasser should the condition be met. In this case, if the systolic blood pressure is less than 100. With the information inputted, click Submit to add the prerequisite to the order. Now we can see the prerequisite we just created in the table of prerequisites. Notice that each prerequisite has an edit and a delete icon. Selecting the edit icon will open the details of that prerequisite where they can be altered as necessary. The delete icon can be used to completely remove a prerequisite from the order. When finished adding and modifying the prerequisites, simply close the modal. Now let's select Pass Orders from the Actions panel and find the order we just added the prerequisites to. Notice the icons on the left side of the order tablet. These are the prerequisites. Hovering over each icon will display a tooltip indicating what that prerequisite is. An order cannot be documented as given without completing the prerequisites first. Note that it is not necessary to complete the prerequisites to document an order as not given. Select the prerequisite icon to perform it. This opens a procedure modal of the type relevant to that prerequisite, in this case pulse. Use the input box or the slider to indicate the pulse read and submit. Now let's perform the blood pressure prerequisite. Remember that the condition was if systolic is less than 100, hold the order. So let's input such a blood pressure. Submit this. Now a modal displays indicating that the conditional was met and providing the message that we entered before to the MedPasser. The order can be documented as not given and then held as per the directions of the order. That concludes the tutorial on setting up and using prerequisites from the MedPass machine. For more detailed information, view the prerequisites how to use written documentation. Thank you for watching this MedRite tutorial.